of course, I just flipped into the wrong set here. So we're going to sketch the graph, if not already done for you, and then shade the region R, okay? Then we're going to find A and B when the graphs intersect and label the A and the B on the graph. That's going to make more sense when I explain a little bit more here. Okay, so just fill it in for right now. Okay. All right, label the, hold on, I don't know what my label is and I haven't scrolled to my notes yet. That's not the right place, come on. It's being stinky on me. Oh, we're almost there. OneNote doesn't like to show up really fast. Here we go. So we're going to label the top and the bottom equation in the graph, or at least identify them. And then we're going to take the integral. And this is definitely not the way a calculus book would present this integral, okay? You don't like my unit circle, Marilyn? It's even purple. All right, from A to B of top minus bottom, and then dx after it. So really, we're going to take our top curve and subtract our bottom curve. So I'm going to explain the concept in just a second and get it written down, and then I'll explain concept, okay? Okay. I think, did you guys notice that Google Meets changed? We can see more people now. Like, it used to be like you could see like 20 some, but it looks like I can see everybody today, like everybody's avatars today. Unless we, oh yeah, and we've got 30 in here. So I think I've got them all. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think I can see everybody today. All right, let's look at the concept of this. So what happens? I've got my graphs, okay? So I've got, and what typically happens is I've got like maybe a line, and I'm going to find, when we integrate, we find the area underneath that line, okay? And then I maybe have a curve, and when I integrate, I find the area underneath that curve. What we will really truly be looking for, though, is we will be looking for the area between the two. So what we have to do to get the area between it is take the area of the top one and then subtract the area underneath the bottom one, and that will get us that gap. Okay, so that's the concept of what we're doing. If you don't have your graphing calculator out, you're going to want it, because we're going to use calculator on both of these problems. There are a few I assigned that are technically no calculator. The integration will be a lot easier. So it'll be like integrating a line and a parabola. And so it's not a big deal to integrate by hand and practice that. We shouldn't necessarily need to go over that because you guys have done definite integrals already. Okay. So we're going to just go over the concepts and use our calculator to assist with some of the arithmetic. All right. A lot of this is going to be setting it up. All right. So we're looking at example 1. It says, let R be the region bounded by the functions y equals e to the x and y equals x minus or x applied as shown in the figure above. Find the area of R. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this one in blue and this one in red. And I'm kind of doing that a little bit on purpose because I know what colors our calculator gives us, in what order. So I need to identify which one's on the top and which one's on the bottom. So can you guys help me out in the chat? What color is on the top, the blue or the red? Which one's on the top, the blue or the red? The blue one is on the top. Perfect. So you understand top and bottom. Excellent. The catch is that what if maybe I didn't have my calculator and I needed to figure that out just by looking at it, which one was the equation of the top and the equation of the bottom. So the e to the x, y equals e to the x, is that the blue graph or is that the red graph? So I'm talking about this one here. Is that the blue graph or the red graph? What do you guys think? That's definitely got to be the red one, right? Because we know the x plus 5 has got to be the line, right? So we know that this one is the red, and this one's the blue. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set up my integral. So I know and I'm leaving a little bit of a space there on purpose. Okay, so I'm going to come back in and fill in some of that space later. You told me correctly that the x plus 5 is on the top. And then that I'm going to subtract the red one, which is e to the x, because subtract is what it says to do in our formula, right? Top minus bottom. And then we're going to put a dx after it. Now, I actually want to calculate that area. So this should be a definite integral. And guess what? I am missing my bounds or my limits there on it. So I need to calculate those. So that's the first thing I'm going to do in my calculator, and I'm going to show you some tricks there, okay? When we're putting this in my calculator, I'm going to assign, because it said A and B up here, right? So technically, I'm going to call that one point A and this one point B, and I am going to integrate from A to B. But I need to tell the grader what A and B are, okay? And I could either set this up in variables like I'm doing, because I'm going to show you a calculator trick, or I could just write the numbers on the integral where I have my A and my B. Either one of them works. The upside of doing it this way is if you have to repeat that value later on in another part of the free response problem, then you don't have to write that ugly decimal point and possibly make a mistake in writing it down, okay? All right, hopefully you got your graphing calculator out. If you are in the situation where your graphing calculator is just flat not working, we need to get that remedied fast, okay? So if it's not working, get down to school and trade it out, okay? Or if if there's something about it not working, make sure you get in touch with me and get my help, and let's see if we can get it fixed. Because you have to know how to do this, and getting that done like a day before the test or 2 days before isn't enough. You need to make sure you're practicing with the calculator all the time, because you will have to use the inspires on the test, okay? And bring in your own on May 24th, okay? I'll have some there, but you should be working with the one you're familiar with, okay? All right. We are going to put in our functions, and I'm going to put them in the order that they were typed because we already set it up that way. So I'm going to go e to the x and hit enter. And it's blue. If you don't like these labels, you can hover over the top and just click and they drive me bananas. They take up too much space. Okay. Okay, so your x is always uppercase. So the way that you fix that, because I had that happen yesterday, is you just hit Control and Shift, and that turns things to caps lock or not, and it doesn't matter. It shouldn't affect it, okay? And it might have been when because we were wrestling with the calculator, so mine turned into that yesterday or the day before, and then I finally took it out. So Control Shift will take it out of the caps lock, okay? Good question, though, okay, because we don't want it to be, it's not wrong, but we don't want it to freak it out. You're welcome. I don't want you freaking out because of those little things. All right, we're going to hit tab, and then I'm going to do this again, and I'm going to say x plus 5. Let's see, did I have the capital X? No, I got it back to baby x. X plus 5. Hit enter. All right, and that's a pretty good picture, right? I can see everything that crosses, right? Now, I'm going to show you one method today. I'm going to show you a different method tomorrow, okay? Because there's more than one way to do this on the calculator. I'm going to do it the slightly longer way today on purpose, because when we get to the next piece, we're doing area, but when we get to volume, you're going to have to do your calculations this way, okay? For area, there is a shortcut within the calculator, which I'll show you the shortcut tomorrow. Let's practice it a few times this way today, okay? All right, so now I'm going to hit the button menu. That's an important button when you want to make calculations off your graph. So I'm going to go to Menu, Analyze Graph, and then I want to go to Intersection. So it's a menu, Analyze Graph, Intersection. All right, and I'm going to go to the left and to the right. So notice, okay, so let me do that one more time. I probably did that too fast. I'm going to pull this off of there. So I'm going to hit my menu, Analyze Graph, Intersection. I'm going to go it says lower bound, question mark. So I'm going to click somewhere to the left at that point. And honestly, if you click to the right of it, it doesn't matter. It will still give you the right answer. And then it says upper bound, question mark. So I'm going to just drag this until I hit that point. And it says intersection, and I got the value. All right. It would be great if I could get the calculator to do the work for me. So I'm going to teach you how to get the calculator to do all of the work, and you don't have to write that number down and accidentally type it in wrong. So we're trying to eliminate human error mistakes and copy error mistakes. So all I need is the X. I'm not messing with Y at all. So I'm going to click once, click twice. That gets a box around it, and we're going to copy that number. So Control C. So I clicked twice and I hit Control C. Now I'm going to come over to the calculator page and I'm going to hit Control V. It gives me the number. And if you're not carrying 6 digits like that, go into Google Classroom. I think there's a video I've got up there that shows you how to make sure your graph is also carrying 6 or 7 digits. Okay. Then we're going to hit Control bar, and that gets the store. So we're going to store that number in A. And hit enter. So anytime I type A, that number pops out. Okay. All right. I'm also going to write that number down here so I know what A equals. And again, part of this is so you're telling the grader, hey, I know I calculated A and I know it equals this number. It's also to help you. So if you're doing like 4 different parts of that problem on the actual AP test, that you know, oh, I wrote down A as -4.99 and I can just keep using the A instead. Okay. All right, we're going to do B now. So I need your help in the calculator. So I'm going to go back to my graph page. What button am I going to push first to start the calculation off my graph? All right, nice work. We're going to push menu first. Good job. So I'm going to go to menu, and I'm going to go to analyze graph and intersection again. So menu, analyze graph, intersection. I'm going to go a little faster this time. Left, right, click. There's my intersection point. All right, I'm going to click once, click twice, Control C. Come back here, Control V, and then Control var for the store, and this time I'm going to put it into B. So I know that number is in B. I am going to also write it down 1.93685, whatever it was. Look at how little work I've written. I've done a lot of work, right? But look at how little I would even be required to write for the AP test. That's really it. Okay, and this is an open-ended free response question. And believe it or not, that's like 2 points worth of work right there out of 9. The 3rd point comes from the answer. All right, so now we're in our calculator and I need to integrate now that I've calculated my intersection points. What do I have to hit in my calculator to get an integral? You guys tell me in the chat. What do you guys remember? What do we have to hit to get an integral? All right, nice work. We're remembering. You guys are telling me you actually got this down, so nice work. Okay, so shift plus, and then my A, this -4.99 is the lower limit, so I'm just going to type A. My upper one was the B. And then we need to be careful, right? We need to know what was supposed to go in what order, right? I'm going to revisit that on my paper. So I know that the X plus 5, which was my blue graph, which I think I did backwards in there, huh? I reversed my colors, didn't I? It's actually, that was what one is in F2 minus F1. So I'm going to go to var F2 of X, make sure I'm outside the parentheses, minus var F1 of X, and then you always have to put your variable of integration, which is an X. And then go ahead and hit enter. Okay, so 17.1298. You don't necessarily need the 8. You can write it if you want. 1, 2, 9, 8. They will only read up to the first 3. I went super slow with you guys compared to my second period. All right, we're going to do the next one. We're going to do it a little bit faster. I do have a typo in the problem. This shouldn't have been a cubed. It should have been a squared. And this one is also a calculator problem. So the first thing I'm going to do is I don't have a picture. I have no concept of what this looks like. So I'm going to put it into my calculator really quick. I'm going to come over here. We're going to go to our calculator. I'm going to hit Doc B and clear everything out. I'm going to go to my equations. So I know that I'm going to need x plus, and it's 14 sine x. So you get vastly different graphs if you forget the 14. I know because I forgot the 14 last period. And hit enter. Looks like we've got some kind of a sine curve going on. It looks a little bit weird and stretched, but we'll hopefully see more of that in a second. I'm going to hit tab. And then I'm going to do 3x squared. Remember, I changed it to a squared. All right. It would be really nice to see if I could see that top part. I don't necessarily have to, but sometimes I like to zoom a little bit where I can see things better. So this is the zoom technique I'm going to use on this one. All right. I'm going to hit menu, and then go to Window Zoom, and I'm just going to zoom out until I can see it. I don't typically use a zoom out, but I'm going to do that this time. So I'm going to zoom out kind of here so I can see all of it now. If I wanted a slightly better picture, I can go to Windows Zoom and do this zoom box. If I want to kind of get rid of all this other garbage, I can just say, hey, I want this to be the first corner up here. Or not there, grab the, come on. See how it's drawing a little box? And then I can just get that boxed in, and now I've got it zoomed in just on that piece. All right, I'm gonna do this part a lot faster. We gotta get our intersection points. I'm gonna go to Menu, Analyze Graph, Intersection. To the left, to the right. One of them is 0. And I'm gonna go to Menu, Analyze Graph, Intersection. To the left, to the right. While I am in here and on my graph, this is not dragging anywhere nice. I'm going to store this one in B because A, I could type the 0. I'm going to click once, click twice, Control C. When I did the Doc B, it does clear everything. So I'm going to go Control V. I'm sorry, today is pretty dry. I apologize about that. And then B. And lots of little new steps. All right, I am going to choose to sketch this graph, which I can kind of cheat on a little bit in my notes. So I'm going to put this over here so that we can talk about it a little bit. Okay, so let's talk about it. I need your help. I haven't heard from you in a while. So looking at what we've got, we know that the blue one is the sine graph, right? And the red one is the parabola. So if I am going to do top minus bottom, which graph is on the top? The red graph or the blue graph? You guys help me out in the chat. What's on the top, red or blue? Okay, we have it backwards. Look at what we've got, okay? Literally look at the picture. What color is on the top, right? Because we're looking at this region right here. Maybe it's because I didn't highlight the region. We're looking right in there. It's gotta be the blue graph. Is that making sense now? It was hard to tell, I'm sorry. That was probably partially my fault. So I want the blue one first. I'm gonna use my blue function or my blue equation first. So x minus 14 sine x, okay? My red one is definitely on the bottom. So for that region, my red one was 3x squared. And then we put in our calculator, let me use the green. So we're gonna let B equal, it was 2.14995. And so I'm gonna go from 0 to B, because 0 was pretty easy to write down, right? I'm not gonna hopefully mess up 0. And then as we're typing this in, this one's in F1 and this one is in F2. On the AP test, don't write down F1 and F2. The graders are not going to know what that is, okay? Unless you are explicit and say, let F1 equal and write the equation. Unless you do that, they don't want to see calculator speak on the test, okay? I don't want to see it on my test either. If you write the little note above it, like I just did, okay, so you're telling me where you're reminding yourself where it is, okay? But on the free response, be really careful. If this was named, if it said f of x equals this one and g of x equals this one, then I can use the names f of x and g of x. All right, let's finish this calculation up and then that's going to be it. Why is it that for F1? Because when I typed it, because it told us this here, right? And then that's what I typed into F1, I believe. Let's check. Yeah, that's what's in my F1. Okay. Marilyn, you don't have to save it to B. My recommendation is to do that because typically you'll have to use that value throughout the problem and then you don't have to keep typing it or copying and pasting it. It's a time saver. Okay. All right, Michaeli, did I get your question answered? I just want to make sure. Shift plus. Okay, and then I'm going to go from 0 to B. And then we said that F1 is first. So var F1 of x minus var F2 of x, and then dx. And hit enter. Okay. What do you mean, what do we click on the calculator? For the B? My first line, oh, to get the first line? Okay. To get this line that was right there where I did the storing. All right. Okay, so to do that, remember I was on my calculator here. I did click once, click twice, right? Get the box around it. Control C. And then I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to do Control V. And then Control var. And then put it into B. Okay. All right. And then hopefully you got the steps from there. It's Shift plus, and it's like we would always do in Anagram. All right, that is the value of the answer. So 14.0359. 14.0359, and you really only need up to the 5 at that point. Okay. All right, that's enough for today. Okay, I gave you a few homework problems. So I want you to go try it a little bit, but I know I am kind of done sitting here. You guys have been doing this for 3 hours. I've been doing it. I'm done for now. Okay, I'm ready to be done. Do we want to hear a joke? Andy's got a good one today. Okay, what's your question, Libos?
Grandma just texted me and she said,
Between 3 and